Hi friends, I am Uday Kandpal and I welcome you all to a fresh new lecture on NCERT Class 6 History Chapter 1 with fact elaboration. The name of the chapter is What, Where, Now and When. We can study this chapter from the context of the possibilities of passing the government exams. So, let's start. What is the context of time? Like yesterday, it can be known by reading a newspaper, watching a television, listening to radio. Last year can be known by asking anybody who remembers. But what about long time? Long time can be known by historical evidences like manuscripts on leaf, paper, etc., inscriptions like rock edicts, and excavates of ancient past like Harappa, for example, pots, mummies, building ruins, ornaments, and skeletons. So, the essence of this chapter is about finding the historical evidences and studying about the history and about knowing what is the context of time, what, where, when, how, etc. etc. So, where did the people live? Obviously, the people tried to live near the river. What they initially do? Initially, they were gatherers, and then they become skilled gatherers. They had a knowledge of vast wealth of plants, that is modern day botany. They collected roots, fruits, and other forest produce for their food. They were also hunters, and they hunted animals in the forest across the rivers. They might also have discovered many items like fire by rubbing off woods or stones, etc. So let's talk about the Indian geography that is constant throughout, like the rivers. Though they change course over time, but they have a lifetime of many thousand years. And India is abundant with rivers. So the chapter next talks about the rivers and the map, which is based on the rivers of India. So the major rivers of India, so there are two classifications. One, the river that are majorly in India, that is like the Ganga and its tributaries like Yamuna, Son, Gandaki, Chambal, etc. And Narmada and its tributaries, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri, etc. And even Pennar and other river like Tapti. Majorly outside India are Brahmaputra and its tributaries and Indus and its tributaries. So these are the rivers of India. Indus 2,900 kilometers, Brahmaputra 2,900 kilometers, Ganga 2,510 kilometers, Godavari 1,450 kilometers, Narmada 1,290 kilometers, Krishna 1,290 kilometers, Mahanadi 890 kilometers, Kaveri 760 kilometers. So these are the map. This is the map of the river source Wikipedia. So you can see the Himalayan rivers like Ganga, Yamuna, Indus, and Brahmaputra, as well as the South Indian rivers like Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Mahanadi, and the Western Ghat rivers like Narmada. It's above the Western Ghats, by the way. So let's talk about the first river in the table, Indus. So it is the largest river into India. The transboundary Indus River Basin has a total area of about 1.12 million kilometers square distributed between Pakistan. So 47% is there in Pakistan, 39% is there in India, and 8% in China, and 6% in Afghanistan. The basin is recognized as ideal and practical unit of water resources management as it allows the holistic and understanding of upstream downstream hydrological interactions and the solution for management for all competing sectors of water demand. It is one of the largest basins in Asia. In Indus, the Indus Basin spreads over the states of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, and a part of Rajasthan, Haryana, and the Union Territory of Chandigarh, having an area of 3,21,289 square kilometer, which is nearly 9.8% of the total geographical area of the country. The Indus Basin is surrounded by Himalayas on the east, the Karakoram and the Haramosh ranges on the south, the Suleiman and the Kirthar ranges on the west, and the Arabian Sea on the south. You can find the Suleiman and the Kirthar ranges on the map in the chapter 1 history book. The cultivable area of the basin is 9.6 million hectare area, which is about 4.9% of the total cultivable area of the country. Upper parts of the basin, lying in the Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh, mostly consist of mountain ranges and narrow valleys. In Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan, the basin consists of vast plains, which are fertile granary of the country. The major part of the basin received an average annual rainfall of 620.96 mm. The major part of the basin is covered with agricultural land and accounting to 35.8% of the total area. 1.85% of the basin is covered by water bodies. The snow melt makes a significant contribution to the huge water flow. The hydroelectric potential of Indus Basin has been assessed at 33,832 megawatts. So, the water availability from the Indus Basin has transformed the deserts into fertile agricultural fields, which has facilitated the influx of human settlers into the uninhabited land. Thus, the Indus River is very useful for our nation, and that is why it was the cradle of the great Indus Valley civilization of the ancient world. So, we have talked about a lot about the Indus River, and we will continue in the next slide. So the northwestern region of the Indian subcontinent is the land of Indus. Indeed, from this river India gets her name. The principal tributaries are the river Indus. From west are the rivers Kabul and Kurram. The five main tributaries from the east are the rivers the Jhelum, the Chenab, the Ravi, the Byas and the Satluj. The principal rivers of Indus system are all perennial. Its tributaries are more dependent on the monsoon rains. So this river, we know that it is a major source of water in Pakistan, and also it is used in India for hydroelectric potential. The river originates from Mount Kailash in Tibet. From its origin in to the Guddu barrage in Pakistan, it is called the Upper Indus, while downstream from the barrage it is known as the Lower Indus. Length of the river in India is about 1114 km. To utilize the waters of the eastern rivers which have been allocated to India for the exclusive use, India has constructed the Bhakra Dam on Satluj, Pong and Pando Dam on Byas, Theen or Ranjit Sagar Dam on Ravi. These storage works together with the works like Byas Satluj Link, Madhopur Byas Link, Indira Gandhi Nehar Project, etc. have helped India utilize their entire share, that 95% of waters of the eastern rivers. Other projects in the process are as follow. The Shahapur Kandi project. The project will help in utilizing the waters coming out from the powerhouse of the Theen Dam to irrigate 37,000 hectares of land in Jammu Kashmir and Punjab and generate 206 megawatts of power. The Uj multipurpose project. The project will create a storage of about 781 cubic meter of water on the river Uj, a tributary of Ravi, for irrigation and power generation in India itself, and provide a total irrigation benefit of 31,380 hectares in Kathua, Hiranagar and Samba district of the JNK, apart from providing the water for the district Kathua of JNK. Second Ravi Bias link from below Uj. The project is being planned to tap the excess water flowing down to Pakistan through river Ravi even after the construction of the dam by constructing a barrage across river Ravi for diverting water through a tunnel ring to the Bias basin. The project is expected to utilize about 0.58 MAF of surplus waters below the Uj dam by diverting the same to Bias basin for the benefits of other co-basin states. So one thing important about Indus River is the Indus Water Treaty. So in order to optimize the water efficiency, a treaty was signed with Pakistan in the year 1960, the Indus Water Treaty. Under this treaty, the water of the three eastern rivers, the Ravi, Byas and Satluj, would be for the exclusive use of India, and the waters of the three western rivers, the Indus, the Jhelum and the Chenab, for the exclusive use of Pakistan. Historically, the Indus Water Treaty is a water distribution treaty available between India and Pakistan, brokered by the World Bank to use the water available in the Indus River and its tributaries, and the Indus River Treaty was IWT was signed in Karachi on 19 September 1960 by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Ayub Khan. Now let's talk about Brahmaputra River. So the Brahmaputra River area of Brahmaputra Basin is about 5 lakh 80,000 square kilometer, which covers 50.5% China, 33.6% India, 8.1% Bangladesh and 7.8% Bhutan. Length in India is about 916 kilometers. So the Brahmaputra basin spans the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, West Bengal, Meghalaya, Nagaland and the whole of Sikkim in India. The basin is of irregular shape, The maximum east-west length is 1540 kilometers and the maximum north-south width is about 682 kilometers. The basin lies in between 23° north to 32° north latitude and 82° east to 97.5° east longitude. The part of the Tibetan Plateau falling under the basin has an elevation varying from 3000 to 5000 meter and is dotted with numerous glaciers. Brahmaputra catchment is the heaviest rainfall region in the world. Brahmaputra basin, particularly the portions of in Assam, is prone to the annual floods and river bank erosions. Part of the Himalayan mountains, regions of the Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh are falling in Brahmaputra basin experience snow cover. As per India, the WRIS data, Brahmaputra basin represents the greatest part of India, accounting the maximum of 55.48, that's about 107,854.26 square kilometers of the country's forest cover. In India, in the middle reach of the Brahmaputra river is Majuli, the river island in Assam, which is marked as the largest mid-river delta system in the world by UNESCO. The hydroelectric potential of Brahmaputra basin has been assessed at 66,065 megawatts. The river Brahmaputra is one of the largest rivers of the world with a specific yield of 85 hectare meter per square kilometer, which is next only to the Amazon river, which is 87 hectare meter per square kilometer. Brahmaputra river originates in the Great Glacier Mass north of Kailash ranges of Himalayas, elevation 5,150 meter, and to just south of lake called Kongyu Sho. Brahmaputra traverses a distance of 2,900 km through four countries: the Tibet, in China, Bhutan, India, Bangladesh, before entering into the Bay of Bengal. The source of this river lies in the Kanglung Kang Glacier near the Kailash range of Himalayas, located in the southwestern part of the Tibetan Plateau at an elevation of about 5,300 meter, that is 82° 10 inches east and 30° 30 inches north, near Kongyu Sho Lake. Here the river is called Tamchok Khambap Kangri. Many snowfed streams join the river from passes at about 60 kilometers southeast and Mansarovar Lake. It has a catchment area of about 5,80,000 square kilometers, an average annual discharge of 90,000 to 820 cubic, an average annual sediment load of 735 million metric tons, and a specific flood discharge of 0.149 cubic per square kilometer. The catchment area of the river falls in four countries. Although the main river does not flow through the kingdom of Bhutan, 96% of the Bhutan's area fall under the Brahmaputra basin. Important tributaries of Brahmaputra in Indian territory are the Subansiri, Kameng, which is called Jiaparali, Dhansiri, Buridihing, Kopili, Manas, Sankosh, Jaldhaka, Torsa, and Tista. Now let's talk about Ganga. In total, Ganga has 11 basin states: Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Bihar, West Bengal, Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, Haryana, Chhattisgarh, Himachal Pradesh, and Delhi. It is the biggest river basin in the country, draining an area of about 8,61,452 square kilometers, which is slightly more than one-fourth, that is about 26.3% of the total geographical area of the country. Ganga basin is bounded by the Himalayas on north, by the Aravallis on the west, by the Vindhyas and the Chotanagpur Plateau on the south, and the Brahmaputra river ridge on the east. The delta of the Great Ganga basin is one of the largest in the world and is known by the name Sundarbans after the Sundari trees covering an area of 60,000 square kilometers. The hydroelectric potential of the Ganga basin has been assessed at 20,711 megawatts. Ganga drains a basin of extraordinary variation in altitude, climate, land use, flora, fauna, and social and cultural life. Ganga has been cradle of human civilization since time immemorial. Predominant soil types found in the basin are sand, loam, clay, and combinations such as the sandy loam, loamy, silty clay loam, and the loamy sand soils. On an average, each square kilometer of the Ganga basin receives a million cubic meter of water as rainfall. The 30% of this is lost as evaporation, 20% seeps into the subsurface, and the remaining 50% is available as a surface runoff. The deep channel of the river, bounded by a high bank, facilitates the passage of groundwater as base flow. Annual flooding is a characteristic of all rivers and the Ganga basin. The Ganga rises during the monsoon, but the higher banks restrict the flood water from spreading. The flood plain is usually 0.5 to 2 km wide. The active flood plain is flooded every year. In addition to this, the existing structures of the Ganga basin also affects its discharge. Bhagirathi River comprises of the Gangotri Glacier near Gomukh at the elevation of about 7,010 meter above the sea level in the Uttarkashi district of Uttarakhand and is considered as the source of river Ganga. Ganga gets its name at Dev Prayag, Uttarakhand at the confluence of the river Bhagirathi and Alaknanda. Flowing downhill from Gangotri Glacier at Gomukh, Ganga is joined by a number of streams such as Mandakini, Dhuli Ganga, and Pindar. The Ganga is 20th longest river in the Asia and 41st longest river in the world. The total length of the Ganga river is 2,525 km and the navigable length is about 631 km. From hydrological point of view, the entire length of Ganga can be divided into three stretches. The upper Ganga reach that extends from the origin to the Naroda barrage in the Bulandshahr district of Uttar Pradesh. The middle Ganga reach from the Naroda barrage to the Balia district in the Uttar Pradesh. The lower Ganga reach from Balia to its delta. The principal tributaries of Ganga are the Yamuna, Son, Ramganga, Ghagra, Gandak, Kosi and Mahananda. Chambal and Betwa are the two important subtributaries. Ganga has been the cradle of human civilization since time immemorial. It is one of the most sacred rivers in the world and is deeply revered by the people of this country. Ganga sustains a rich biodiversity that includes the river dolphins, turtles, mugger crocodiles, smooth-coated otter, etc. Ganga is a habitat of 143 different water species, freshwater fish species. Rapidly increasing population, rising standards of living, and exponential growth of the industrialization and urbanization have exposed water resources in general and rivers in particular to various forms of degradation. This mighty Ganga is no exception. The deterioration in the water quality impacts the pupil immediately. Ganga, in some stretches, particularly during the lean season, has become unfit even for bathing. The threat of global climate change, the effect of glacial melt on the Ganga flow, and the impact of infrastructure projects in the upper reach of the river raise the issue that has a comprehensive response. The major projects on Ganga are the Tehri Dam in Uttarakhand, 263.5 meter, is the highest dam on the Ganga, while Nanak Sagar Dam is situated in the Udham Singh Nagar district of Uttarakhand state, is the longest dam, 19.2 km on Ganga. The Ganga River Basin Management Plan. The Ganga River Basin Management Plan (GRBMP) was prepared by the consortium of 7 IITs in 2010. The plan is being implemented by the National Mission for Clean Ganga (NMCG) under the Namami Gange program. NMCG has sanctioned a total of 254 projects worth 24,672 crores in accordance to the thrust areas which the Nirmal Dhara, Aviral Dhara, riverfront development, Swachh Kinara, capability building, research and monitoring, conservation of biodiversity and awareness creation specified in the GRBMP plan. Under the Namami Gange program, variety of coordinated activities meant for the cleaning of river Ganga, including the treatment of municipal sewage, treatment of the industrial effluent, drain bioremediation, river surface cleaning, rural sanitation, riverfront development, construction of ghats and crematoria, afforestation, biodiversity conservation, public outreach program, etc. have been taken up. We have talked a lot about river Ganga. Now let's talk about Godavari. Godavari is India's fourth longest river after the Ganga. Its source is Triambakeshwar, Maharashtra. It flows east for 1,465 kilometers, that's about 910 miles, draining the states of Maharashtra 48.6%, Telangana 18.8%, Andhra Pradesh 4.5%, Chhattisgarh 10.9%, and Odisha 5.7%. The river ultimately empties into the Bay of Bengal through an extensive network of tributaries, measuring up to 3,12,812 kilometers squares, that's about 120 1,777 square miles. It forms one of the largest river basins in the Indian subcontinent, with only the river Ganga and Indus River having a larger drainage basin. In terms of length, the catchment area and the discharge, the Godavari is the largest in peninsular India and had been dubbed as Dakshin Ganga, the Ganges of the south. The Godavari River has a coverage area of 3,12,812 km squares, which is nearly one-tenth of the area of India and is greater than the areas of England and Ireland put together. The river basin is considered to be divided into three sections: the upper source to the confluence with Manjira, the middle between the confluence of Manjira and Pranhit, and lower, the Pranhit confluence to Mao. The major tributaries of the river can be classified as the left bank tributaries, which include the Purna, Pranhit, Indravati, and Sabri River, covering nearly 59.7% of the total catchment area of the basin, and the right bank tributaries, the Pravar, Manjira, and the Maner, together contributing 16.1% of the basin. Pranhit is the largest tributary, covering 34% of the drainage basin, though the river properly flows for 113 kilometers. By the virtue of its extensive tributaries, the Vardha, the Vainganga, the Penganga, the sub-basin drains all the Vidarbha region as well as the southern slopes of Satpura ranges. Indravati is the second largest tributary, known as the lifeline of Kalahandi in Nabarangpur of Odisha and Bastar district of the Chhattisgarh. Due to their enormous sub-basins, both Indravati and Pranhit are considered rivers in their own right. Manjira is the longest tributary and holds Nizam Sagar Reservoir. Purna is a prime river and the water-scarce Marathwada region of Maharashtra. The river is sacred to Hindus and has several places on its banks that have been the places of pilgrimage for thousands of years. Among the huge number of people who have bathed in the rivers, I have the rites of cleanse for the rites as a rite of cleansing are said to have been the deity Baldev 5,000 years ago, the Saint Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago. Every 12 years, Pushkaram fair is held on the banks of this river. A legend has it that sage Gautam lived in the Brahmagiri hills of the Trambakeshwar with his wife Ahilya. The couple lived the rest of their lives in the village called Govuru, now known as Kovur. Since the British rule, Ahilya lived in nearby places called the Thagami, now Thogumi. The sage, as a reason for the practice of Anandam, giving away food to the needy, started cultivating rice crops and other crops. Once the god Ganesh, on the wish of Muni, sent a miraculous cow, Mayadhenu, which is assembled as a normal cow. It entered the sage's abode and started spoiling the rice which he was meditating. Since the cattle is sacred to the Hindus and shall always be treated with respect, he put the dharab grass on the cow. But to his surprise, it fell dead. Seeing this happen before their eyes, the Munis and the wise cried out, "We thought that Gautam Maharishi is a righteous man, but he committed bovicide, that is, killing of cow or cattle." The sage wished to atone his grievous sin, therefore he went on to Nashik and observed a tapas to Lord Trambakeshwar, who is a manifestation of God Shiva, on advice of the Munis, praying for the atonement and asking him to make the Ganges flow over the cow. Shiva was pleased with the sage and diverted the Ganges, which washed away the cow and gave rise to the Godavari river in Nashik. The water stream flowed past Kovur and ultimately merged into the Bay of Bengal. Now talking about Narmada. Narmada Basin extends over an area of 98,796 square kilometers, which is nearly 3% of the geographical area of the country. The basin is surrounded by the on the north by the Vindhyas, on the east by the Michael Range, on the south by the Satpuras, and on the west by the Arabian Sea. Lying in the northern extremity of the Deccan Plateau, the basin covers a large area in the state of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, and comparatively smaller area of Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh. The basin spans over broadly 27 districts and 20 parliamentary constituencies, according to the India WRIS 2009, comprising of 15 of Madhya Pradesh, 3 of Gujarat, and 1 each of Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra. The hilly regions are the upper part of the basin, and the low middle reaches are broad and fertile areas well suited for cultivation. The average annual potential of the basin is 45.64 billion cubic meter. The utilization surface water in the basin accounts for to about 34.50 bcm. Narmada River is the largest west-flowing river of the peninsular India. It rises from Narmada Kund, located at Amarkantak in the Annupur district of Madhya Pradesh at an elevation of about 1057 meter in the Michael Range. It forms the traditional boundary between the north and the south India. The river flows from Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat between Vindhya and Satpura hill ranges before falling into the Gulf of Cambay in the Arabian Sea about 10 kilometers north of Bharuch, Gujarat. The total length of the river from the head to its outfall at the Arabian Sea is 1,333 kilometers. For the first 1,085 kilometers, it runs in the Madhya Pradesh and thereafter forms the common boundary between Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra for 39 kilometers and Maharashtra and Gujarat for 43 kilometers. It has the longest stretch in Gujarat of 166 kilometers. There are 41 tributaries of Narmada River. Out of these, 8 important tributaries join the river from the right bank and 11 important tributaries join from the left bank. The first major tributary, the Bornar, joins Narmada from the left. Further downstream, it receives the Banjar from the left. As Narmada enters the upper fertile plains, it receives Hira from the right bank. In continuation, the river receives several tributaries, the Sher, the Shakkar, the Dudhi, the Tawa, the Ganjal from the left, and the Tendoni, the Barna, the Kola from the right. During the journey through the middle plains, it receives tributaries, the Chota Tawa, the Kundi from the left, and the Man from the right. In the low hilly regions, Narmada receives the Goi from the left and the Udi, the Hatini from the right. The Karjan from the left and the Orsang from the right are important tributaries joining the river in the lower plains. Finally, the river drains into the Gulf of Kambhat in the Arabian Sea, or the Khambhat in the Arabian Sea. The climate of the basin is humid tropical, ranging from subhumid in the east to semi-arid in the west, with the pockets of humid or perhumid climates around the higher hill reaches. The Tropic of Cancer crosses the Narmada basins in the upper plain area, and the major part of the basin lies just below this line. The climate of the basin is humid and tropical, although the places at places extremes of heat and cold are often encountered. In a year, four distinct seasons occur in the basin. They are cold weather, hot weather, southwest monsoon, and the post monsoon. The normal annual rainfall for the basin works out to be 1,178 mm. The southwest monsoon, June to October, is the principal rainy season, accounting for nearly 94% of the annual rainfall. About 60% of the annual rainfall is received during July and August months. Major projects on the Narmada Basin: the Bargi project, Rani Avanti Baisagar Dam, Bargi, was completed in June 1988. A composite 69.8-meter high concrete dam and the eastern flanks on the river Narmada river near Bargi village of the Jabalpur district. The cultural command area (CCA) of this project is 2.198 lakh hectares in Jabalpur and Narsinghpur district. The project generates 90 megawatt hydropower from the river bed powerhouse and 10 megawatt from canal bed powerhouse. The total cost of the project is rupees 1,514.89 crores. The Tawa project. Tawa irrigation project was completed in 1992-93. A composite masonry dam with the earthen flanks constructed across the river Tawa, a major tributary on the left bank of Narmada near Ranipur village in the Hoshangabad district. The cultivable command area (CCA) of this project is 2.468 lakh hectares in Hoshangabad and Hada district respectively. The project generates 13 megawatts, that's 2 into 6.75 megawatt hydropower from the canal bed powerhouse, which was constructed in the year 1995. The cost of the project was 113 crores. The Indra Sagar project. The dam is constructed across the river Narmada near village Punasha in the Khandwa district. After the completion of canal network, the project will irrigate 1,23,000 hectares of land in Khargon, Barwani and Khandwa district. The estimated cost of this project is 3,182.77 crores. Omkareshwar project. The Omkareshwar project is situated near the Omkareshwar Jyotirling in the downstream of Indra Sagar project. The work on Omkareshwar Dam and the river bed the powerhouse 520 megawatts was completed in November 2007. After completion of the canal network, the project will irrigate 1.47 lakhs hectares of land in Khargon, Dhar and Khandwa district. The estimated cost of the project is 2,921.54 crores. The Maheshwar project. The Maheshwar hydel project for 400 megawatts, located about 40 km downstream of Omkareshwar multi-purpose project on the main Narmada river near the Mandleshwar town in the Khargon district of Madhya Pradesh. Maheshwar is a large dam on the river Narmada within the boundary of Madhya Pradesh. 8.12 MAF of water will be released to Gujarat. The work is being carried out by Sri Maheshwar Hydel Power Corporation Limited. Sardar Sarovar project. The Sardar Sarovar Dam is situated in Kevadia district of Narmada district of Gujarat. The main dam has been constructed up to full reservoir levels of 138.68 meters. The project generates 1200 megawatts hydropower from the riverbed powerhouse and 250 megawatts 5 into 50 megawatts from the canal head powerhouse. The total power being generated from Sardar Sarovar project 1450 megawatts has been distributed to three states, that is 57% to Madhya Pradesh, 27% to Maharashtra, 16% to Gujarat, and as per as Narmada Water Dispute Tribunal award. The estimated approved cost of the project on the price level of 2008 to 9 was 39,240.45 crores. So let's move on to the Krishna River. The Krishna River is the fourth biggest river in terms of water inflows and even river basin area in India after the Ganga, Godavari and Brahmaputra. The river is almost 1288 kilometers long. The river is also called Krishna Veni. It is one of the major sources of irrigation for Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. The Krishna River originates in the Western Ghats near the Mahabaleshwar at an elevation of about 1300 meters in the state of Maharashtra in central India. It is one of the longest rivers in India. The Krishna is about 1400 kilometers in length, 282 kilometers in Maharashtra. It is one of the most suitable arable basins, as 75.6% area of the Krishna basin is under cultivation because of availability of water. The river sources at Mahabaleshwar near the Jor village to the extreme north of Vai Taluka, Satara district, Maharashtra in the west, and the empties into the Bay of Bengal at the Hamsala Devi near Koduru in Andhra Pradesh on the east coast. It flows through the state of Karnataka before entering Telangana state. The delta of this river is one of the most fertile regions in India and was home to the ancient Satvahana and the Ikshwaku Sun dynasty kings. Vijayawada is the largest city on the Krishna. It causes heavy soil erosion during the monsoon floods. It flows fast and furious and reaching depths of over 75 feet, that's 23 meters. Ironically, there is a saying in Marathi, Sant Vahate Krishnamai, Sant Vahate Krishnamai, which means quiet and slow flows Krishna. This term is used to describe that a person should be as quiet as Krishna. In Karnataka state, it is also called Krishna. In Telugu-speaking states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, Krishna Veni is a common name given to the girl child referring to the Krishna river. The largest tributary of Krishna River is the Tungabhadra River with a drainage basin measuring about 71,417 km squares, running at about 531 kilometers, but the longest tributary is the Bhima River, which makes a total run of 861 kilometers and has an equally large drainage area of 70,614 kilometers square. Three tributaries, the Panchganga, Varna, and the Yerla, meet Krishna River near Sangli. These places are considered very holy. It is said that Lord Dattatreya spent some of his days at Audambar on the banks of river Krishna. Kudal Sangam, also written as Kudal Sangam, is located about 15 kilometers from the Almaty Dam in the Bagalkot district of Karnataka state. The Krishna and the Malprabha river merges here. The Ekya Mantap of the Holy Samadhi of Basavana, the founders of Lingayat sect of the Hindu religion, along with Linga, which is believed to be self-born Swayambhu, is here, and the river flows east towards Sri Salem, another pilgrim center of Andhra Pradesh. So we can study a lot about Krishna River. The Sangameshwaram of the Kurnool district in Andhra Pradesh is a famous pilgrim center for Hindus where Tungabhadra and Bhavanasi River join the Krishna River. The Sangameshwaram temple is now drowned in the Sri Salem reservoir and visible for devotees only during the summer when reservoir's water level come down. Krishna Basin extends over an area of 2,58,948 kilometers square, which is nearly 8% of the total geographical area of the country. The large basin lies in the state of Karnataka, 1,13,271 km square, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, about 76,252 km square, and Maharashtra, about 69,425 km square. The Krishna River rises in the Western Ghats at the elevation of about 1,337 meters, just north of Mahabaleshwar, about 64 km from the Arabian Sea. It flows about 1,400 km and outfalls into the Bay of Bengal. The principal tributaries joining Krishna are the Ghatprabha River, the Malprabha River, the Bhim River, the Tungabhadra River, and the Musi River. This river is revered by Hindu as sacred. The river is classified to remove all the sins of people by taking a bath in the river. The center of attraction is the Krishna Pushkaran fair, which is held once in 12 years on the banks of Krishna River. There are many pilgrimage centers on the bank of Krishna River. There are many pilgrimage places in Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh on the course of this river. So the first holy place on the river Krishna is at Vai, known for the Mahaganpati Mandir and the Kashi Vishweshwar temple. It has 7 ghats along the river. Temples like Dattadev temple, which is revered by the people of Maharashtra, are located on the banks of Krishna at Narsobawadi and Audambar near Sangli. Yadur is one of the important holy places in Karnataka, which is located on the bank of Krishna. Veerbhadra temple is famous temple. Many devotees visit the place from Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. Also located on the banks of river Krishna is the Sangameshwar Shiva temple at the Haripur. Some of the other temples are the Karak Durga temple in Vijayawada, Ramling temple near Sangli, Mallikarjun Jyotirling Sri Salem, Amareshwar Swami temple, Dattadev temple, and Sangameshwar Shiva temple at Alampur and Gadwal in the Telangana. So let's now move on to the Mahanadi River. The Mahanadi Basin is the 8th largest basin in the country, having a total catchment area of 1,39,681.51 square kilometer, which is nearly 4.28% of the total geographical area of the country. It lies between east longitudes 80 degree 30 inches to 80 degree 50 inches and north latitudes of about 19 degree 21 inches to 23 degree 35 inches. The catchment area of the basin extends over the part of Chhattisgarh and Odisha and comparatively smaller portions of Jharkhand, Maharashtra, and Madhya Pradesh. The Mahanadi basin is divided into 3 sub-basins, namely the upper, middle, and lower Mahanadi. The upper basin is a saucer-shaped and mostly lies in Chhattisgarh state. The basin is circular in shape with a diameter of about 400 km and the exit passage of about 160 km length and 60 km breadth. Physiographically, the basin can be divided into 4 regions, namely the northern plateau, the eastern ghats, the coastal plains, and the erosional plains of the central tableland. The first two are hilly regions. The coastal plain is the delta area, which is highly fertile. The central tableland is the central interior regions of the basin, traversed by the rivers and its tributaries. The basin receives about 90% of its rainfall during the monsoon season. Generally, the southwest monsoon sets by the middle of June and entire basin and remains active till the end of September. The spatial variation in the rainfall is moderate in the basin. The formation of depressions in the Bay of Bengal cause cyclones, which bring about wide variety of heavy rains, resulting in the floods and destruction. The annual runoff of Mahanadi is 66.9 billion cubic meter. 3 basins receive an uneven rainfall, thus Drought is prevalent in some districts. Total 14 districts in the basin are covered under drought-prone area program. District Jagatsinghpur, Puri, Kendrapar, which are situated near coastal for parts of Mahanadi face waterlogging problem. The main soil types found in the basin are red and yellow soils. Mixed red and black soils occur in the part of Bolagir, Sambalpur and Sundargarh districts of Odisha. Laterite soil is found in the lower part of Odisha. The deltaic soil is found in the coastal plains of Mahanadi. Black soil and sandy soil with kankar are the main soils found in the part of basin lying in Chhattisgarh. Except in the Chhattisgarh and coastal plains, the basin has an extensive area under forest. Forests and agriculture are the main stay of the people in the interior parts of the basin, the Chhattisgarh and the coastal plains with a high incidence of rainfall and predominantly rice growing areas. The Mahanadi is one of the major east-flowing peninsular rivers in India, originating in the Dhamtari district of Chhattisgarh and draining into the Bay of Bengal. The Mahanadi river banks second to the Godavari river among the peninsular rivers in respect of water potential. The Mahanadi rivers rises in a pool 6 kilometers from Farsia village near Nagri town of Raipur district in Chhattisgarh state at an elevation of 457 meter. The total length of the river from origin to its outfall in the Bay of Bengal is 851 km, out of which 357 km lies in Chhattisgarh and 494 km in Odisha. The river is bounded in the north by central India hills, in the south and east by the eastern Ghats, and in the west by the Michael Hill range. The three major tributaries, namely Sionath, Ib on the left bank and the Tel on the left bank and the Tel on the right bank, together constitute nearly 46.63% of the total catchment area of the river Mahanadi. The Sionath is the longest tributary of Mahanadi, which rises in the midst of numerous small gaps of hills in the Rajnandgaon district of Chhattisgarh. It drains an area of about 30,761 square kilometer, which is nearly 25% of Mahanadi basin. The Ib rises in Raigad and drains 12,447 kilometers of Raigad districts of Chhattisgarh and Sundarban and Sambalpur districts of Odisha. The tail rises in the village Jorigam of the Kolhapur district of Odisha and drains 22,818 square kilometers of four districts, namely Kolhapur, Kalahandi, Bolangir and Fulbani districts of Odisha. Six other small streams between the Mahanadi and Rushikulya draining directly into the Chilka Lake also form a part of the basin. The Jonk rises in the Khadial hills of the Naupat district of the Odisha, and another tributary Hasdeo rises in the Kodia district of Chhattisgarh. The Hasdeo flows from about 340.25 kilometers to join Mahanadi. Its main tributary is the Gage River. The Mand flows from the total length of 260.01 kilometers before its confluence with Mahanadi near Chandrapur districts of Maharashtra. Hirakud Dam project is a multi-purpose scheme intended for flood control, irrigation and power generation. The dam is built across the river Mahanadi at about 15 kilometers upstream of Sambalpur and the town in the state of Odisha. This is one of the oldest hydel projects of India, being the first post-independence major multi-purpose river valley project in the country. Ravi Shankar Sagar, Dudhwa Reservoir, Sondu Reservoir, Hasdev Bango and Tandula are some of the major projects. Now let's come on to the Kaveri River. Kaveri River, also known as the Kaveri, the angelical name, is an Indian river flowing through the states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. The Kaveri River rises at Talakveri in the Brahmagiri range of the Western Ghats, Kodagu district of the state of Karnataka at an elevation of 1,341 meter above the mean sea level and flows for about 800 kilometers before its outfall into the Bay of Bengal. It is the third largest river after Godavari and Krishna in the South India and the largest in the state of Tamil Nadu, which is on its course bisects the state into north and the south. The Kaveri sacred river to the people of the South India and is worshipped as goddess Kaveri Amma. The Kaveri is also one of the seven holy rivers of India. The catchment river of Kaveri basin is estimated to be about 81,155 square kilometers. That's about 31,334 square miles, with the many tributaries along including Harangi, Hemwati, Kabini, Bhavani, Lakshman Tirth, Noyal and Argavati. The river basin covers three states and union territories as follows: Tamil Nadu 43,868 square kilometers, Karnataka 34,273 square kilometers, Kerala 2,866 square kilometers and Puducherry 148 square kilometers. Rising in Talakweri in Kodagu, Karnataka, it flows south east some 800 kilometers and 500 miles to enter the Bay of Bengal. In Chamrajnagar district, it forms the island of Shivasamudra, on either side of which are the scenic Shivasamudra falls that descends about 100 meters. As per the order by the Indian Supreme Court on 16 February 2018, Karnataka will get about 284.75 cubic feet no, TMC feet. Tamil Nadu will get 404.25 TMC feet. Kerala will get 30 TMC feet, and Puducherry will get 7 TMC feet. 10 TMC feet will be reserved for the environmental protection, and 4 TMC feet will be reserved for the inevitable wastage into the sea. Kaveri Water Management Authority (CWMA) and the Kaveri Water Regulation Committee (CWRC) 2018. Acting on the Supreme Court's direction, the Centre constituted a Kaveri Water Management Authority on 1st June 2018 to address the dispute over sharing the river water among Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, and Puducherry. The central government failed to adhere to the top court's deadline within the 6 weeks of the deliverance of the judgment. On 16 February 2018, the Apex Court had directed the government to form CWMA within 6 weeks in a verdict that marginally increased the Karnataka share of the Kaveri water, reduced the allocation of Tamil Nadu, and sought to settle the protracted water dispute between two states. On 22nd June 2018, despite opposition from Karnataka, the central government constituted the Kaveri Water Regulation Committee as per provisions in the Kaveri Management Scheme laid down by Supreme Court. Central Water Commission Chairman S. Masood Hussain will head the CWMA, and the Chief Engineer of the Central Water Commission Naveen Kumar will be the first chairman of the CWRC. While the CWMA is the umbrella body, the CWRC will monitor the water management on a day-to-day basis, including the water level in inflow and outflow of the reservoirs in all the basin states. Now the other rivers, Penna River or the Pennar rivers, or which is also called as Pennar, Penner, Penneru or Uttar Pinakini, is a river of the southern India. The Penna rises in the Nandi Hills of the Chikkaballapur district of the Karnataka state and runs north and the east through the states of Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh to empty into the Bay of Bengal. It is 597 kilometers long with a drainage basin covering 55,213 kilometers square, 6,937 kilometers squares in Karnataka and 48,276 kilometers square in Andhra Pradesh. The river basin lies in the rain shadow region of the Eastern Ghats and receives the 500 millimeter average rainfall annually. The Tapti River or the river Tapi is a river in central India between the Godavari and Narmada rivers, which flows westward towards the draining into the Arabian Sea. Its origin is in the Multai River Reserve Forest in MP. From there, it enters Maharashtra and flows through the western part of Vidarbha and Khandesh. From the Maharashtra, it flows into Gujarat, where its mouth is near Surat. It flows through Surat and is crossed by Magadala ONGC bridge. Now let's talk about some interesting facts. So we are talking about the names of India through time. Since recently our country is called as India. Prior to that our country was called as Bharat or Bharatvarsha or through the names of kingdoms. Bharatvarsha is a philosophical name of the entity we call as India today. Iranian and Greek who came here 2500 years ago called this land as Hindos or Indos. Hodu. Hodu is the biblical Hebrew name for India as it is mentioned in the Old Testament. Tianzu. It is the Chinese and the Japanese name given to India by the Oriental scholars. Nabhivarsh. There are two reasons for the name. Nabhi was a son of man who ruled the entire earth. As Nabhi ruled India, it came to be known as Nabhivarsh. Nabhi in Sanskrit also means navel and it's the center. It is, if seen on the globe, India appears to be the navel or the center of the earth, hence the name Nabhivarsha. Jambu Dweep. The land of Jambu trees today called as Jammu. Aryavarta, ancient Vedic tradition, North Indians and those who were long and sturdy and righteous ones were called as Aryas and their land was referred to as Aryavarta. Hindustan given by the Mughals. Archaeology. Archaeology, sometimes called archaeology, is study of human activities through the recovery and analysis of material culture. Archaeology is often considered a branch of social culture anthropology, but archaeologists also draw from biological, geological, and environmental systems through their study of the past. The archaeological record consists of the artifacts, architectures, biofacts, and ecofacts, and the cultural landscapes. Archaeology can be considered as a social science and a branch of humanities. In Europe, it is viewed as a discipline in its own rights and a subfield of disciplines, while in North America, archaeology is a subfield of anthropology. Historical archaeology is a form of archaeology dealing with the places, things, issues from the past, present, and written records and oral traditions that can inform and contextualize cultural material. These records can both complement and conflict with the archaeological evidence found at the particular site. Studies focus on literate historical period societies as opposed to the non-literate prehistoric societies. While they may not have generated the records, the lives of people for whom there was a little need for written records, such as the working class, slaves, indentured laborers, and children, but who live in the historical period, can also be subject of study. The sites are found on the land and underwater. Industrial archaeology, unless practiced at industrial sites from the prehistoric area, is a form of historical archaeology concentrating on the remains and products of the industry and the industrial area. Some famous Indian archaeologists are Bhagwan Lal Indraji. He was born in Junagadh in 1839 in the family of Nagar Brahmins. He was invited to Bombay in 1861 by Dr. Bhaul Daji Lad, whom he worked with the next 12 years. He was a close collaborator with Lad, although he has been credited only as an assistant. While working together, Indraji worked extensively on transcribing inscriptions from sites across the region: Ajanta, Nashik, Karli, Bhaja, Bhayandar, Junad, Pithalkhoda, and Naneghat. During his lifetime, he traveled extensively throughout the country, transcribing the study and studying inscriptions and manuscripts, first as an employee of Dr. Lad and later for the Nawab of Junagadh. Second is Rakhaldas Bandyopadhyay. R.D. Banerjee was born in the Murshidabad district of Bengal in 1885. He received the bachelor degree as well as the master's in history from Calcutta University and joined the Archaeological Survey of India in 1911. He played a key role in the discovery of Indus Valley civilization. He was the first to excavate the Mohenjo-daro site. It was he who did the ground archaeology, which expanded the understanding of Indian history by over 1,500 years. Dayaram Sahni, he was born in the Bhera district of Punjab in 1879, was the first Indian Director General of the ASI, Archaeological Survey of India. He excavated extensively in the eastern and northern India in the sites Sarnath, Rampur, Rajgir, finding significant remains from the post-Vedic era of Indian history. Dr. Vishnu Sridhar Vakankar, born in the Madhya Pradesh in 1919, is known for discovering the prehistoric rock art caves of Bhimbetka and has been called father of the rock art in India. Vakankar discovered and studied more than 4,000 rock art shelters during his lifetime. In India, Europe, and North America, besides rock art, he also conducted excavations in Maheshwar, Navada, Toli, Manoti, Indragarh, Dangwada. He also was an expert in epigraphy and numismatics, having collected and studied 1,500 coins. Some geographical features of Indian subcontinent. Thar Desert is in West Rajasthan. Garo Hills is in Northeast India. Early agriculture in India it is also famous for. Suleiman and Kirthar ranges, Northwest Pakistan. Animal rearing, sheep, goats, cattle, and first agriculture in the Indian subcontinent. Vindhya Mountains, Central India. Rice grown first to the north of India. Narmada River. Satpura, Central West India. Narmada River, Tapti River. Himalayas, North to East India. Sources of major rivers in North India: Eastern Ghats along the Coromandel coast, Western Ghats along the Malabar coast. Now, important features in this chapter are Narmada Valley is popular for hunting and gathering. Magadh is the very first kingdom. Garo Hills is known for the early agriculture. Indus and its tributaries have the first cities, and Ganga Valley cities about 2,500 years ago. So thank you for watching my lecture. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something from it, and hope you are able to prepare for the government exams using my lectures. Thank you and have a nice day.